Hello, fellow YouTubers. Trouble835 here with YouTube Gaming Community number 24. So let's get this off and rolling, shall we? So Steve Benway left a comment to my last video, which was commenting on the comments I read from The Completionist. And the basics of his comments were about integrity. You know, standing up for your friends when they get harassed or trolled. And my comment back to him was simply a question I'm going to ask you. Because it wasn't a question, but it's going to be a question to ask you. You know, it's not always that simple. Let's take this case scenario for you here. Let's say you have a friend over here who, for whatever reason, starts trolling your other friend. Now, what do you do? How do you handle it? On one hand, you want to be supportive of the friend who's being trolled. On the other hand, you want to find out why this guy has a beef with the other guy and to try to get him to stop trolling. In this premise, by the way, this person did not start off trolling people right away. This is the first time he started trolling somebody. What do you do? How do you handle it? How long of a time do you give this guy or a leash before you say enough's enough, quit trolling the other guy? Maybe he does have a good reason, you don't know. But how do you handle it? What do you do in that situation? Leave the comments below, and I will read the different answers in the next video. There's no right or wrong answer here. Hopefully it'll help somebody who may be in that situation somewhere down the road, and they see it go, you know, that's the way I want to handle that. So, on to some good news. Congratulations to Crow111. He recently got married, so congratulations to him and his wife. I hope to have a very happy and long life together. This weekend I was supposed to meet Techromancer 1 in the arcade. We're supposed to, meet for the first time, play games and stuff. And, it's one of those things where, life and work get in the way, There's a couple hours from me. I'm sure somewhere down the road we'll meet. There's other guys who live in Illinois on YouTube that I like to meet later on down the road too. It's one of those things where, life gets in the way. I honestly say Techromancer 1 and Crow111, I couldn't highly recommend those guys enough. Those two are just two guys, great guys on YouTube. So as we all know, we are now getting into, or for some of you may have just started last week, the holiday video game release season where just a billion games come out. You can't play a majority of the games, you have to pick and choose. Like today, me and my wife went out and we picked up Kirby's Epic Yarn for the Wii. She's ironically playing this game right now while we're talking. This game looks gorgeous. Probably one of the most gorgeous looking Wii games I've ever seen. It'll be the second reason actually to play my Wii outside Super Mario Galaxy 2. It doesn't get played very often, quite frankly. But I've never played a Kirby game before because they always come out at the end of the generation cycle, and by that point the new system's out for Nintendo and I end up going new system. Never played a Kirby game before. I saw the video for this originally at E3 and then the trailer, and it looked really interesting, and so we picked it up. But I did learn one thing, by the way. That's just my impression of this game, by the way, not a review. Is that we're trying to play with the basic Wii controller. It does not work very well. You can use it, but for us it's not very comfortable. Later this week we're going to go out and get a classic controller to play this game. We are going to play two-player on this game too, since it's just two-player. And here's a little strategy guide that came out for it. It's not one of those big ones. The whole point of this is that the little binder thing, so that you flip the page over and it doesn't flip back on you when you're playing like you do with the bigger strategy guide. So, I mean, there's just so many games coming out. Castlevania just came out. You got Fallout New Vegas coming out. You got Black Ops coming out. Donkey Kong Country Returns on November 21st for the Wii, which will probably be my next Wii purchase. I mean, just so many great games coming out. It's just, obviously the season's hard to pick and choose. So videos you may want to check out. First of all, the first one is Atarileaf's Atari 2600 Buyer's Guide. So say you think about getting Atari 2600, or you maybe need recommendations on, or want to see what different systems are out for it. In this video, he shows you the different systems. He shows you, what to look for when you're getting one, and what you may need to clean up, or what you need to do when you get it, and what games you may want to buy. I highly recommend this video for anybody who is thinking about getting one. Next up is PeteDorr's Sonic the Hedgehog 10th Anniversary Wine Glass, one of those rare items that not very many people have. If you like Sonic and want to check that out. Next up is Black Lily 8, Matt Chat 78, Arnold Hedrick interview part 1 through 3. If you don't know who Arnold Hedrick is, he's the designer of Darklands. He also did some PC military simulation games. Come on, Robert. Simulation. Say it with me. Simulation. There we go. So anyway, TheRealAgerbon, he is now moving over to his WorthYourUniverseHD channel. because it's a situation where, you know, he's had a strike or two against him due to copyright in the past. He wants to have a clean slate. You're going to see more people do this as time goes on YouTube, you know, wanting to have a clean slate because of, you know, they didn't know the copyright thing, or, you know, whatever. I mean, I know I got a lot of responses to an earlier video about copyright, and people told me how ridiculously little you have to do to get copyrighted music, and I really will bring that up next video because I really want to credit the people who actually left a comment on that. So next up is Chipsturs Goldeneye 007 N64 review. This is a case where he did the original review of this game 14 months ago. He just did, he didn't like it, he wanted to redo it, so he did it. And listen, when you do review a game and you look at it later and you may not like it, that doesn't mean you can't go back and redo that video. There's no rule that says you can't do that again. So if you don't like it, redo it, do it the way you like it. Next up is Retro Gamer 3 Gunsmoke review take 2. This is another case where he cut the version because of copyright issues, and he does show the arcade and the NES version of Gunsmoke in this video. Next up is Techromancer 1 Broke as a Joke video game pickups. I recommend this video to people, especially to people who are looking at how to do a theme in a video, or how someone does it. In this video, he does a really good job of playing Halloween music and just a little touch like pumpkin stuff in the video, and how dark it is. That really sets the theme and the tone of Halloween. So if you really want to look at a video on how to do a theme or a tone without doing very little editing, you know, very cheaply, easy way to do it, check that video out. Next up, The Goon 2 Games with Special Accessories. For example, Lethal Enforcers that Konami released. Games that had something else with it so you could play the game. Next up is HappyConsoleGamer 100th video review, Phatasy Star HD. This is another case where the first video HappyConsoleGamer ever did on YouTube was a review of Phatasy Star. Now, obviously he's gotten better editing his videos and his style, so he's decided to go back and redo that video, which is really cool because I know obviously he stated he really loves that game. Now, or you don't think, you know, in another case you may not think you've done that game good enough justice, so you may want to redo the review. Congratulations to him to get to 100, because to be honest, like if you do gameplay, I know there's people who have like 700 videos on YouTube because they do playthroughs, so you know you put out a massive amount of videos at one time. But for people who do a lot of editing or reviews and stuff, it's a lot harder to get a lot of games reviews out. So congratulations to him for getting to 100. Next up, Gamesters 81, the evolution of the NBA Jam series. Now he doesn't have every gameplay of every NBA Jam game in here. Obviously, it'd be over 15 minutes now, but he does show a good portion of them. He does show how NBA Jam, you know, graphics and gameplay evolved, and at the very end, he does show the new Wii NBA Jam that just came out, which makes you want to play that game. But I'm waiting for the 360 version because it has online and it's supposed to be on disc, so I'd rather get the disc version, quite frankly. But as you all know, if you've watched my other videos, I love NBA Jam. I got NBA Jam and NBA Jam Tournament Edition on my Genesis. I play those two games all the time. Really love that series. Next up is DINKYDANA's My Best Flea Market Find Ever. So he found himself a Vectrex and got it. I'm not gonna tell you how much he paid for it or how he found it. You gotta watch the video to see that. But I only seen a Vectrex honestly once in my life. Early 90s, my best friend, one of my best friends growing up, I don't know how he got one. Found it somewhere. They went on some family trip and he found it. And he got it, and he had two games with it. One of them was a Robotron clone that I played a lot actually. Vectrex, very different looking system, you know, very. So if you've never seen one, check that video out. Next up, SplatterTrigger's video game strategy guides. I actually favored this video because he shows a lot of strategy guides, like for Super Mario Bros. 2, and obviously strategy guides on from there. A lot of these strategy guides I used to want to get again. I love strategy guides. I love art books. I love, you know, box art of video games. So it's really cool. Next up, MusicofZelda Majora's Mask. MusicofZelda, obviously, he's putting a lot of Majora's Masks from the Zelda game up. The one I'm going to link to is Majora's Mask 20 Keaton's Quiz. Next up is Mark Vergier's 10-10-10 Game Room Update HD. You know how much I love game rooms, and he's updating his game room. I've actually never seen Mark Vergier's game room before, so really cool to check that out. Next up, 8-Bit Rob's Virtual Rob City Connection for the Virtual Console at NES. Now, I actually rented City Connection a couple times back in the NES days. I actually enjoyed that game. He does a really good job with the history of the game, you know, reviewing the game. he uses obviously Rob the Robot from the NES to do the reviews. So really cool, really entertaining. So if you never said C Connection, or maybe you want to remember what it looked like, check that video out. Next up is Chemical Taste TV. Number 15, eBay Super Nintendo booklets and maps, eBay lot 101710. Yes, I know what you're saying, Trouble. Why are you showing this guy's channel video on his channel about a lot he's selling on eBay? Well, he has a ton of Super Nintendo instruction booklets in there that he shows. And if you're interested in seeing a bunch of different instruction booklets, check that video out. Next up is Press Start Comic, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, NYCC. He recorded one match of the actual gameplay of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. If you've never seen the gameplay of it, or you want to see what it looks like, and check that out. I'm really interested in the game. The game looks really cool. So, next up, Luke Morris 1, Game Boy Advance SP Mini Arcade Cab Mod GBA.cab. It's really cool. I took a Game Boy Advance and made a mini arcade cab and put it in there. You know, almost kind of like the cabs you saw in the 80s. You know, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, but little small ones that came out. It's really cool they did that. Again, Luke Morris 1 is my favorite channel on YouTube, has been since the first time I saw his channel, and it always amazes me what he does and comes up with, and his knowledge of arcade machines. And it's really cool. It does work, by the way. He turns it on and it does actually work. Next up is Two Cakes, One Up. First video is their Zelda Heart Cookies, if you're interested in making the hearts from Zelda. And the second one is Oatmeal Phantom Mask Cookies, which are the guys from Super Mario Brothers. So if you're interested in making any of those or want to see how he makes it, check that videos out. Next is Cyanide Breath Mints. He put a video up. He's got the entire series of Valis. If you want to see what the games look like, you know, some cases the box, some cases the instruction booklets, and the game, or just the game itself, check that video out. Next up is Jason Moore 187. No More Gaming. And the whole premise of his video, really comments, is this: what is the longest you've ever been without gaming? 1 month, 2 months? For me, I think it's only been a couple months, because I've always, I may have not got the newest system when it came out, but I've always been playing video games. Whether it be PC games, whether it be home console games, I've always been playing video games. Could have been Diablo 2, it could have been MechWarrior 2, The Sims. Obviously, home consoles, there's so many: Super Mario Brothers, you know, Zelda, you know, to Modern Warfare 2, Super Mario Galaxy 2. I've never had a very long period of time without playing a video game. A couple months would be me not sitting playing games. Almost took this generation off, but we all know how that turned out. So I got some things, see if they turn out interesting to try playing for the next video, guys. So till we get to 25.